男には咲かせにゃならねえ花だ。
What is going on, everybody? This is Drew here. I want to welcome you to a brand new episode of Phoenix Down. This is Phoenix Down 103.2, and we are continuing and finishing our playthrough of Yakuza Kiwami. Today I have with me Matt.
Hello.
And as I said before this show here, this is going to be a train wreck of an episode because I'm just going to go ahead and say it. This game doesn't really hold up.
Yeah, I was going to say train wreck of an episode for a train wreck of a game, but I think that's a bit strong. But there's a little bit of that sentiment there.
I don't think the game was a train wreck. I think the game was uninteresting. And because it was so uninteresting, I half-heartedly cared about a lot of the things that happened in this game until the very end. But at that point, They had introduced multiple characters, and I was like, okay, I know who this is, but I don't know their play in this. Also, they introduced them in the last third of the game, and I'm like, they really should have established these people earlier on.
Yeah, I generally got the sense that each individual cutscene was really good. Right? Like, you can clearly tell who the bad guy is. There's some good action. There's good moments in each scene. It just feels like they're all kind of disjointed, and they could have come in almost any order.
Yes.
Really? I mean, the overall story does have a narrative arc to it, but you're right. Introducing so many of these big endgame characters right at the end really does kind of cut down on their impact a bit.
The problem I had with this game is that every single chapter felt like a side story. Except for the last probably 2 chapters of this game. Because Haruka gets either lost or kidnapped 3 times in this game.
Yeah.
And the whole first half, all the way up till the last few chapters, is keep Haruka safe, go find Haruka. Keep her safe, go find Haruka. And I was just like, because I don't remember a lot of this game.
It all kind of blends together in that sense, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it would have been maybe more forgivable, but at least more understandable had the run times of these 2 games been different. But to have like a game that's half the length, and to have 60% of that length be unnecessary and uninteresting really means this game is much shorter, and there's much less content and story and important characters and good moments. There's just less to this game. It's very lightweight relative to Yakuza 0.
That's
even more so than the runtime indicated.
Yeah. So that's the you just hit the nail on the head, because that is the biggest takeaway from this, is that everything feels slightly throwaway.
Yep.
It's like, oh, we're going to introduce this guy. You have a fight with him, and then you never see him again. Like, for the majority of this game, the only thing that really matters is Kiryu, Nishiki, Kazuma, and in some degree Majima and Shimano. And then, of course, at the very end, you have the the director of the MIA. What was his name? See, that's the problem. We met him in 2 cutscenes previously, and that's it. And I'm like, oh, now he's the villain of the end. You know who I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
Dude with the mole on his head.
Yeah. What the heck is his name? Jingu.
Yep. Jingu. So, I mean, we've kind of come to the conclusion that there is really no way we can go chapter by chapter talking about what happened because everything kind of blended together. So I'm going to try to give a rundown. I remember the last thing you did was you had to go find Haruka again because she's been kidnapped again.
Yeah, this was also my problem when you messaged me like, "Hey, we're going to finish this game this week, right?" And I was like, "Oh, sweet Jesus, I have not put 1 minute into this and I was behind already from last week." The idea of catching up and playing 4 chapters and playing more beyond that, I'm like, "Look, and this was like Sunday night or Monday. I was like, I don't know if that's going to happen."
Well, the last couple of chapters of this game are relatively quick.
Yeah, exactly. So when I got into it, I just, I was able to plow through this over the last few nights, and it wasn't that bad because, yeah, the last third, I mean, the pace does pick up, more happens, but also the chapters are just shorter. They cut out some of the filler.
Yeah.
Some of the backtracking and fetch quests and...
Yeah. So... All right, so you find Haruka. The thing is, we get information in very small cutscenes.
Yeah, there's a really good one here where you get that. What was it? Because the main thing in Chapter 8 is that you're basically out trying to find these 3 gangs and who stole her.
Yes.
And you find out that they were hired by a Chinese guy, Lau Ka Long.
Yes. Who Kiryu has a past with.
Yeah, you're getting these flashbacks. But again, they're so sporadic. Like, where there are good parts in this game for sure, but if you were to condense them into like a movie version of this, it would be like a 60-minute movie.
Yeah. Which, once again, Kiryu has a past with him. He's only in this 1 chapter, and that's it.
Yep.
Another throwaway character. This guy should have been one of the main villains of the game.
And you can tell based on Yakuza 0 that if they made Yakuza Kiwami today, he would have been, I feel, because of how integral Majima's backstory was. And, those links between what he went through in the past and how that's formed him, into who he is today. I mean, that's just good storytelling. And so they had an opportunity here, in retrospect at least, to have built this up to be a formative part of Kiryu's past, and they just do so little with it, shockingly little.
Well, it's because I feel like this is slightly a shot-for-shot remake of the first game.
Yeah,
for the most part, and they kept it all the same. And this is a game from 2005, which I know is not an excuse, but in that time, Yakuza was a simpler game.
Yeah, and I think just stories in general were simpler. You didn't really go... I mean, maybe that's just maybe it's recency bias, or maybe it's just that, we've had so many really good story-driven single-player games in the last few years, but, I don't think Yakuza would have been so much behind the curve when it came out as it is like today.
So I feel like the biggest problem that we have is that we played Yakuza 0 first.
Yeah.
And Yakuza 0 is probably the best game in the series. Like, as far as I've played, Yakuza 0 is the best game I played in the series. The games,
me too.
the games get better. They actually do. Yakuza 2 has a really good villain in it. I remember that, and it just progressively does get better. Like 3 is really good, 4 is really good, and that's
So 1 and 2 were on the PS2, 3 and 4 were on the PS3. That era, anyway.
Yes,
Is that right?
yes. And then they went back and did Yakuza. Yakuza 5 is also on PS
360 and PS3's generation.
Is it? Is it?
I'm not sure on 5. I only kind of saw through 4.
Yakuza 5. Released in 2012.
Yep, developed and published for the PS3.
Yes, PS3. So Yakuza 5. Then, and I never played Yakuza 5. I think it was either Yakuza 5, then they went back into 0, Kiwami 2, and then 6. I think. That's how it went.
Yeah, okay.
But from what I understand, I know Jay Lee has said that Yakuza 6 is a phenomenal game that ties everything together and gives a great send-off to Kiryu. So I want to see it through. Unfortunately, Yakuza Kiwami kind of left a little bit of a bad taste in my mouth.
Yeah, it did for me too. I didn't hate it. I just never felt emotionally invested in it like I did. Other than at a few points. Really, for me, the best scenes of this game, or at least the ones I was excited while watching, were the ones that Nishiki was in. Because I was always waiting for that, like, acknowledgement of where they were and how they could have possibly drifted so far apart. And you do kind of get that in the end, and you kind of get that that's his arc in this game.
Yeah.
But, oh man, if it had been done to the level that Yakuza 0 was, I mean, that alone could have carried big parts of this game. Yeah. Let alone the mystery and the backstabbing and, some of the other things that do happen that can make for good stories. I mean, I was fully in every time Nishiki was on the scene in this game.
Yeah.
Both the cut scenes where you're looking at his past and like what happened over the last 10 years, but also and specifically the current scenes where you can see that the repercussions of everything that's happened to him. It's a lot like the House on Haunted Hill? Haunting of Hill House? Haunting of Hill House.
The Haunting of Hill House.
Yeah, the Netflix series. Like, what made that so good was the repercussions, right? Things that happened in the past really fucked everybody up. And, just seeing that juxtaposition, past and present, similar to what this game kind of does or tries to do. I really love that as a way to tell stories.
Yeah.
It's not always done super effectively, but when it's done well, it's powerful. And here I got shades of it, and every once in a while I was like, I just feel so bad for Nishiki, but he's clearly the bad guy here.
I feel like this would have been a amazing story to tell the rise and fall of Akira Nishikiyama.
Yep.
I feel like that would have been the best way to handle this game. I understand that Kiryu is the main character, but they could have easily done a Yakuza 0 where you play as Kiryu in the present and Nishiki in the past. And then they meet up. Bam, right there. That would have been a really cool aspect. But, I mean, obviously they chose to just do a remake of the first game.
Yeah, interesting. Because I'm glad they did remake the first game because as much as some of the differences are glaring between Yakuza 0 and Yakuza Kiwami, it would have been painful, I think, to play the original immediately after 0.
Oh,
Maybe not. I don't know, but
no, it would have. The only thing that you would have got out of it was Mark Hamill's Majima. But yeah, I mean, that's the problem. I don't know. I don't know how to talk about the rest of this game. They introduce characters, then we beat them up, and then you never see them again. Just like in this the next chapter that we're talking about, we have this Chinese, triad gangster who Kiryu has a past with, that is brought up for 20 to 30 minutes in a chapter. We beat that guy up, and he is never mentioned again.
And you do find out that the reason he's around here is because Shimano hired him. And they're like, everybody's vying for a way to move up in the Yakuza.
Yeah. And they're all wanting that 10 billion yen.
Yep.
So, there is some more information that we get. I'm just going to go through it. So there's some more information that we get with Date telling us, hey, looks like that body that they found in the Tokyo River wasn't actually Yumi. So that means Yumi may still be alive. So Haruka can still hold out hope.
She's got almost anime-sized eyes, so when she's trying to hold out hope, her eyes gleam.
It's true.
It's like she's always reflecting every possible light.
But
they did a good job with her. She's kind of adorable as a child.
Yeah. They.
Kids, sometimes kids can look kind of scary in games, but they do I thought they did a really good job with her.
Yeah, they did a great job with her, and I don't mind her as a character. I don't think, in a lot of games, if you have the kid there, they're always kind of like a little annoying brat kind of thing.
Yeah,
or somebody I just don't like. God, I gotta be with this kid, and they turn.
Or they don't feel like a kid if they try to make him too adult.
Yeah. They can quickly turn into the Maru of the game. So we find out that that body is not Yumi. So she's still running around the city somewhere. And that basically turns into the end of the game, is us trying to find her. Along the way, we are also introduced to a new guy. So he's not the head of the Oni Alliance. He is kind of like a head of a family.
Yeah, Date says that the Ministry Intelligence Agency is led by Jingu.
Well, no, I'm not talking about him. The Terada.
Oh, Terada, yeah.
Terada. Yeah. So we're introduced to him because Kazuma has basically formed an alliance with the Oni Alliance through him. And it's revealed that Kazuma's been behind the majority of this entire time. So he and Sarah both knew that the 10 billion yen was going to be needing to be hidden, all because it was basically owed or owned by the head of the MIA, the director of the MIA, which is, what would you say, Fugen? Not Fugen.
Jingu?
Jingu. Is that his first name, Fugen? Jingu? Anyway, whatever. No, Kyohei Jingu.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, it's also revealed that Kyohei Jingu, messing up these names bad, was also in a relationship with Yumi. So when Kiryu went to prison and she had her mental breakdown,
and lost her memory.
Lost her memory, yeah. She met up with this guy who had ties with the Yakuza, but was also the head of the MIA, which is the Ministry Intelligence Agency, which is kind of like the FBI for Japan. And they got together and had a child, which is Haruka. So Haruka is actually Yumi and Jingu's daughter. It's also revealed that, well, I just kind of revealed it, Yumi and her twin sister, or her sister, are both the same person.
Yep, there never was a Mizuki.
So the reason why that is because Jingu wanted to have Yumi killed. So he had Sarah basically put a hit on her. Sarah, who has been with Jingu this whole time because, well, the Yakuza and essentially was the FBI working together, you know, they could rule Tokyo, basically. So he felt like he owed them, but Sarah didn't go through with it. So that's when Jingu decided, all right, I want my 10 billion yen that you owe me, and I'm going to have her killed. So that's when Sarah and Kazuma sat down and devised a plan. They were going to hide Yumi and Haruka and basically give them new identities. They were going to take the 10 billion yen that Jingu wanted and lock it up somewhere where he can't find it, and give Yumi a new identity and keep her hidden away. So that way he can never get it. Now, Sarah is not an idiot. He knew that this was obviously going to paint a big target on his back. So he decided to write up a will with Kazuma. And he wrote in there, if he were to die, who the next chairman of the Tojo clan would be. And he passed that along to Kazuma. Well, as we all know, Sarah, of course, got assassinated, which he was killed by Nishiki, because Nishiki is now taking orders from Jingu, because Jingu wants his money. So that's kind of the gist leading up to the end. Now, Shimano, who is also in this whole thing, starts in trying to find both Haruka and, well, at this point, Yumi as well. But we have a big fight with him because Kazuma is on a boat again. Hey, look at that! We're having another fight on a boat again.
Yep, felt like a throwback.
Yep. And so we end up having to fight Shimano because he's trying to basically assassinate Kazuma. After beating him in a relatively easy boss fight at this point because I'm so leveled up.
Shimano?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought he was easier than it. I thought there was going to be like another form or something because he wasn't that hard.
Yeah. But after beating him, unfortunately, during that fight, Shimano ends up shooting Kazuma. Right? But Kazuma kills him too? Kazuma, I know for a fact, kills Shimano. Like, straight up.
No, I thought it was... Yeah, he does. Because he's, like, injured on the side.
So, who kills Kazuma?
That's a good question.
Hang on. This is horrible radio, and I know we've heard from people before saying that we shouldn't do this, but I'm sorry. This game is hard to remember.
I did think that, with some of the twist reveals at the end here, that one of them was going to be that Haruka was actually Kiryu's daughter.
Right.
And then... then they pull out that little locket at the end. I was like, oh, it is. This is what happened. But alas, it wasn't.
Nope. I'm looking it up.
Yep, it was Shimano. He threw a grenade, and he sacrificed himself to protect Haruka.
Yeah. That's right.
Although, it didn't really look like he was dead at first. I mean, he was still able to talk, and then, just succumbed a moment later.
Yeah. He also tells Kiryu that he was actually the one that killed Kiryu's parents. In fact, he opened up the Sunflower Orphanage for all the children of the people that he killed. So
I did like, a little bit before this, one of my favorite scenes was Nishiki when he's about to kill himself.
Remind me of this?
So this is him... I don't know, it looks like he's just kind of kneeling in an apartment, and you can see him, like, pull out his little... They really like those little, like, 18-inch daggers in this game. Not sure exactly what they're called, but... he pulls that out, and he's getting ready to, like, stick it into his stomach and end himself in an honorable method. And then his, like... second in command or his money guy came in and then started like berating him for not answering him, and he got the money and
That's right.
You've always needed me. And then you can see Nishiki like tensing, and instead of killing himself, he stands up and runs it right through the guy's stomach, and then like proceeds to lift him up with it and really like dig in. And then he takes all that blood and uses the blood to like slick his hair back, and that's when he like...
That's when he turns into evil Nishiki.
Goes off the deep end, yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that was that was a moment of change for him.
Those daggers were also called Tontos.
Tontos.
Yeah. Like Kimosabi.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But yeah, I really like that scene.
Yeah, that was like the final transformation into evil Nishiki.
Yeah, it's not going to take shit anymore from his underlings or anyone.
Anyone, to be honest with you. But, so, Shimano is now dead. Kazuma is now dead. The only thing that is left at this point is to find Yumi. Well, so happens, we have some information. We know where Yumi is because thanks to, bald guy. What's his name? He dies.
Shimano?
No.
What's the other bald guy?
His friend. Shinji.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shinji, in his last dying breath, who he gets killed by I think, is it the Shimano clan kills him? I can't remember.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. He tells us that his girlfriend, who knows where to find her. And that's when we have to go talk to a whole bunch of people, go to these different hotel rooms. I'm guessing kind of like a...
Definitely.
Like a brothel. Definitely a brothel, yeah.
Yeah.
Which this actually happens before the whole Kazuma dying and Shimano dying, because we have to fight Majima. Majima rams a freaking dump truck into the building. And
then saves your life at the end?
Yeah. Yeah.
Of course, that seems like a Majima thing to do, right? I'm going to save your life so I can continue to fight you.
Yep, that's pretty much it. But yeah, so we know where Yumi is now. Yumi is back at Ares in the Millennium Tower. So this is our final moment of, hey, if you want to do anything else in this game, you need to do it now. But we take Haruka with us because, of course, we'll take Haruka with us. We'll take a 9-year-old girl with us to fight a bunch of mobsters.
After taking her to a brothel?
Yeah. But, when we get to Ares, Yumi is there. And she, has a heartfelt moment with Kiryu. Great to see you again. And Haruka gets to see her mom for the first time. Even though she met her before, she thought it was her aunt. Now she can call her mom. But unfortunately, the honeymoon's over because, well, here comes dear old dad on a helicopter.
Yeah, the game feels like it's trying to be movie-esque at the end here. You know, you've got guys in suits, you've got military backup, you've got the helicopter.
Everybody's got guns except for Kiryu.
Yeah.
Yep. And he basically is telling us everything. So he's having his villain moment, his Bond villain moment, where he basically lays out everything that he has planned this entire time. So his plan was to get Mr. Dumb Nishiki to help with taking down the majority of the Tojo clan by creating turmoil. First by eliminating Sarah, and then trying to kill Kazuma, which he did succeed. There was a lot of turmoil in the Tojo clan. But what he didn't what nobody realized was that he had also secretly set up a kind of like an alliance with the Oni Alliance, without the head of the family knowing about it, which is the guy who was working with Kazuma. So he's there. Terada. Is that how you say it? Terada?
Terada. Potato.
Yeah. He's there, and he's going to help Kiryu. But as soon as he tells everybody this, his men betray him. And he's like, so I was basically screwing over Nishiki and the Tojo clan by secretly going with the Oni Alliance. And now we're going to take over the Tojo clan with the Oni Alliance, and we'll just run this whole show. I'll have my MIA guys, and then I'll also have the underworld mobsters on my side. So, yeah. So begins the boss fight. And this entire thing is the boss fight. So you have to fight a whole bunch of military dudes who go down relatively easy. And you have to run
Except
around.
for the ones that are hiding halfway across the room, shooting you out of nowhere.
Shooting you, yes. But you finally make it to the helipad, and you have to fight. Okay. This fight, oh my God. So I died at this fight, and I was like, I'll just do this fight again. No, they take you back to the beginning where you have to fight the small guys again. I'm like, really?
That's a pain.
You couldn't put me at a checkpoint at the helipad? No, like I was ever so slightly disgusted at that point. I was like, really? So anyway, make it back to Jingu, and he has two special forces dudes who, after you beat them, come back to life and fight again. So, yeah. Needless to say, this fight took a long time. Jingu also has both a gun and grenades that he throws at you, both of which immediately knock you down.
Yeah, I definitely... I didn't have quite as much difficulty with this boss fight, but a few of these I still felt like I did in the first session, where I just felt like I was constantly getting stun locked, I was constantly getting comboed to no end. I think the reason that I felt a little better in this last 2 or 3 chapters was that I splurged and used all that extra money that was gifted to us near the end of the game to buy the best health potions, the best drinks, because for most of this game, I've been full. I've had my inventory full of drinks. But as my life bar's been growing, I would have to use like 3 at a time.
Yeah.
And so like I was like, all right, if I know the end is coming soon, I'm going to invest in the good drinks.
Right.
Because it's essentially like having 3 times the health drinks.
Yeah, basically, because your inventory is limited.
Yep, and I only did that for the last series of fights. I also went and bought a weapon, and I never used weapons in this game, other than the environmental weapons. I didn't use them once until the last 2 fights. And, man, are they helpful.
So, I never used weapons in this game, period. I mean, I did use the environmental stuff.
But how weird is it that they give you accessory slots, weapon slots? I didn't even think about that in this game until near the end. I saw that I had picked up some weapons, but never really considered using them, never really needed to, even though I never felt good at the combat.
Yeah.
But man, when you get some of those gifted swords and you use them on a boss, you slice right through them, no matter how much they dance around like an idiot. I mean, they're looking all badass until you just walk up and slice them. And you know, I love that one tiny little visual indicator where you can actually see the slash line on them after you cut them. So you can really tell that you've connected with a bladed weapon.
Well, there you go. An edged weapon. Surviving edged weapon attacks.
But I had a couple of fights in this game though that really were painfully slow. The one in the club where you fight like the big guy and the small guy, and the small guy's breakdancing at you.
Oh God, yeah, that was the colored gangs guys.
Yeah, I think they call them like the Ali brothers.
Yeah,
But I just like I finally would start to get into a combo, and as soon as I would, the other one would knock me out of it or grab me.
yeah.
And I just had a tough time. Like I never felt like I was on par with them, power wise.
No.
I just outlasted.
Yeah, that's the thing. They don't have energy drinks on them
Yeah.
like we do.
Suckers.
So after a long, drawn out battle, we beat him. And we go back to the inside of the bar, essentially, the lounge where we are. And as we are sitting there talking with Yumi, we got one last loose end to tie up. In walks Nishiki. And Nishiki he doesn't care about anything. The only thing he cares about is being on top. And in order for him to be on top, he has to prove that he can beat Kiryu, because Kiryu took his right away from him. When Kiryu took the fall for the death of Dojima, it completely just ruined any type of respect that Nishiki would ever get. And for that, he needs to beat/kill Kiryu. So, let's grab the shoulder of our suits and throw them off.
The Dragon of Dojima versus the Koi Pond of Dojima.
Koi Pond of Dojima.
Yeah, badass fish.
So there is a reason for that. So the legend is the koi fish will swim up a waterfall, and when it reaches the top of the waterfall, it turns into a dragon. That is a Japanese legend, I believe. It's also referenced in Pokemon, because if you get a Magikarp, which is a useless fish, but if you level it up far enough, it turns into a Gyarados, which is a dragon. So, and I have to, if there's one thing I have to give this game, that cutscene and that scene where they introduce the fight, because they've always done this. They've always done Kiryu versus goons or Kiryu versus street thugs. When they did this Kiryu versus, it was awesome. Because they both are rushing at each other with rage. They come in with their shirts off, and as they're slowly about to punch each other in the face, the game freezes, and it just pops up, the head of the Nishiyama family, Akira Nishiyama. And they both punch each other in the face.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, that's pretty fucking awesome. And yeah, the fight's crazy. He has super armor on practically every single attack that he does. He dances around like an idiot, like you said. But Kiryu, my Kiryu, has a little something up his sleeve. He has beast mode. Yep. And this entire place is filled with furniture.
Yeah, that really helps. And big furniture, too.
Yeah. And so I just switched to beast mode and just picked up everything that I could and beat Nishiki in the friggin' face with it. And as long as I stayed in heat mode, I also had super armor. So he could never knock me out of my combos. This fight, for being a final boss fight, was kind of a joke compared to some of the other fights in this game.
Yep. I definitely had harder ones.
Yeah. So, after the big, long boss fight, he does have the biggest health bar in the game. I think he has like 5 health bars. I think it goes purple, green, yellow, orange.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But after beating him, he's knocked out, laying there, and Yumi's like, "Okay, cool. We need to do something about this yin." So she takes the locket, the amulet that was given to Haruka, and she puts it on a laser lock? I don't know what you call it.
Laser scanner of some sort?
Yeah, a scanner, and it scans it, and boom, this vault opens, and there's just a big stack of money sitting there. There's the 10 billion yen. And she's like, I'm going to destroy this. I have to destroy it. But before that happens, because she has a bomb, I forgot to mention. So Yumi has had a bomb the past probably 40 minutes of this game. She was going to use it to just blow up everybody, because I guess she just wanted to take down her ex-husband.
And also her daughter?
I guess. I don't know. I think she was just using it as a bargaining chip.
Yeah, because when she pulled it out, I was like, call that bluff. She's not going to kill Kiryu and Haruka.
Yeah. But, but as she's getting ready to, I guess, blow up the vault, Kiryu gets shot in the leg. He falls over and turns around. Boom. Uh-oh. Your ex is still alive. So, Jingu aims his gun at Haruka, of all things, and pulls the trigger. And as the camera kind of scrolls up, as it pans up, it actually wasn't Haruka that got hit. It was actually Yumi. She stepped in front of the bullet. She's been hit in the chest. She falls over. And
this is where I thought she was going to say, Haruka's yours.
Yeah, you thought so?
Well, I kind of thought so. And then when she pulled out that locket and there was a picture of Kiryu, I was like, that seals it. This is definitely what happened. She's been holding her love for him, and somehow he never knew, and I thought there was going to be a ridiculous little story about how he didn't know that she was his daughter. I mean, not I don't know, maybe not really, because I knew they hadn't really been that close before, but there was always that kind of simmering underneath. But I don't know. The fact that it was his picture in her locket, I was like, oh, this is happening. And then when she got shot and, he's cradling her in what's clearly her last moment, I'm like, yep, this is when she says it.
No.
Yeah.
Not.
Still Jingu's.
Yeah. So, Jingu now has the upper hand. He shot Yumi, and Nishiki stands up, rushes Jingu with a knife, stabs him directly in the stomach, and just kind of rips into him. Kills him dead. Nishiki is now kind of went nuts at this point, and is like, I guess he also wants to make up for the bad things that he's done. And he's like, this is my responsibility. I'm going to end this. He takes the bomb for some odd reason and goes into the vault and blows up the 10 billion yen. I mean, looking at the explosion, because they show it from the outside, how is anybody alive in this building?
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I can think is that the door area was reinforced because it was a vault, but somehow they ignored the outer wall.
I guess.
And it, directed the blast out. I don't know.
So,
The door was open, though, still, right?
yeah, that's what I was thinking. That's why half the building blew up.
Yeah.
So Kiryu and Haruka are sitting there holding Yumi, and this is where Yumi tells Kiryu that the locket has always had a picture of you, because I remember you when my memories came back. I remember you helping me, and I've always kind of loved you. And Kiryu's like, I love you too. And then, unfortunately, Yumi passes away. And yeah, that's the end of that scene.
Yep.
So, there's one other piece of information. The piece of information that I've been leaving out is because what really threw everybody off kilter was when Kiryu revealed, I'm holding the will of Sarah in my hand. This will tells us who will be the fourth chairman of the Tojo clan, the successor. And it's written in there that Kazuma Kiryu will be the fourth chairman.
I like how Sarah said, I was never really that good of a chairman anyway.
Yeah. So, after everything happens here, Kiryu is now the fourth chairman, the head honcho of the Tojo clan. It cuts to a few days later.
Yeah, I assume so.
And they're at the Tojo headquarters. And Kiryu is running away. He's running. And he's being chased by a whole bunch of Yakuza. And he jumps into a car with Date and tells him to take off. And they take off, and Date's like, so, looks like they didn't take it too well that you did your initiation for being fourth chairman and then you immediately retired. He's like, yeah, they'll get over it. And he's like, so who did you put in charge? He's like, yeah, somebody you probably don't even know. And to be honest with you, I don't even know him. Because they introduced
none of us
him.
do.
Yeah, they introduced him in the last third of the game. So the guy who basically got screwed over, God, what was his name? Taeda?
Tarada?
Tarada. One of the heads of the Omni Alliance is now the fourth chairman, or the fifth chairman, technically, of the Tojo clan. And Kiryu said that'd be the best man for the job. To be honest with you, he's the only one left. There's nobody else. So the last scene is Kiryu now deciding to give up his life as a Yakuza and take care of Haruka. And they have a nice little moment where she's there with the little puppy, and she's reminded because there's a little girl and a mother there, and oh, I don't have a mom anymore. And Kiryu's like, it's okay, I'll take care of you. And they walk away with a fun little moment. And then Amazing Grace plays for some odd reason.
Yeah.
And I said, well, I guess with the amount of people that died at the end of this game, I'm assuming Amazing Grace is probably, necessary at this point.
Yeah.
So, the only survivors of this game, really, is Kiryu, Haruka, and Majima.
Everyone else is inconsequential.
Everybody else is dead. Kazuma's dead. Sarah's dead. Nishiki's dead. Yumi's dead. Shinji's dead. Even Reina is dead. Who we didn't even talk about that. She got killed.
Yeah, kind of crazy that they just like throw her body around.
Yeah. I mean, they shot her up.
Yeah.
Like, that looked like a freaking machine gun. And they're just like, just flop her body down. It's like just covered with freaking bullet holes.
Way tough to reopen that bar.
I guess. Everybody's dead. I don't remember this from 2005. I don't remember everybody in this game dying. Except for 3 people. I mean, technically 4, because you gotta have the chairman now. Which they introduced him at the last 4 hours of this game.
Yeah, he hasn't earned the right to get the number.
I don't think so either. He does make a return, though. I do remember that. And that's it. That's it. That's the end of Yakuza Kiwami. I think we've already said pretty much everything that we feel about this game. I don't think it's a bad game. I honestly feel like it's kind of a product of its time. Even if it is a polished up remake, they strictly stuck with the script of the first game. In the first game, nobody knew who any of these characters were. They were just introduced, and that was kind of it. They didn't give us whole big backstory with Yakuza 0, so I feel like that was kind of a detriment to the game. Because we played Yakuza 0 first.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the only thing that I really do like is that I don't understand how you could really connect with Nishiki without Yakuza 0.
Yeah, no, he's just a villain, you know.
Yeah.
He's a punk kid and then turns into a villain. That Kiryu just so happens to be friends with.
It's got a lot more heft this time around for anyone who had played it originally.
Yeah, you're right. But there's so many parts of this game that feel like they're just filler.
Yeah.
Go find Haruka. Go find Haruka again. Go and do this. Go and help Date and the florist's kids. And then go find Haruka again. And I'm just like, what? You know, like it felt like you said, most of these could have happened in any order, and it wouldn't have changed anything.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I don't want to hold it against the game. I was glad to see the characters again, those who were still around. But yeah, I mean, if the other games get better and Yakuza 1 is kind of the low point, I'm still really curious to see where things go. Especially even if there's just the idea that everything gets tied together in a later game like that. I like to see the whole series and how, again, games like Yakuza Kiwami could potentially become better if the subsequent games build on what was here and use this as a way to, to foreshadow things or to set things in motion. But, to do that, you need to have people around. So many people died here that there's not really a ton to set in motion.
So there is a few things that are set in motion that happen in this game.
Okay.
So, like I said, the fifth chairman will make a return.
Yep.
And that will happen in the next game.
Yeah, I guess I just always think that even when some things are a letdown, like it may be a letdown in isolation, but if things build on the subsequent games, I might look at Kiwami differently.
Yeah, and you may. You may. I'm not going to say that you won't. I can guarantee you this: the games do get better. If there's anything, you can use Yakuza 0 as kind of like, evidence of that.
Yeah.
They get better with their storytelling, I promise.
And their mission structure.
And their mission structure, yes. So the best thing I can describe, we've already talked to death. Yakuza Kiwami feels like, this happened, and then this happened, and this happened, and this happened, and you're just telling plot. You're not even telling plot points. You're just telling events that happen, and they could happen in any order except for the last probably 3 things. So. But the great thing that happened with Yakuza 0 was this happened, and because of that, then this happened. And it built up to this, and then this. Like everything played a part of it. It felt like when you were playing a chapter in Yakuza 0, you were watching an episode of a TV show, and then the next chapter was the next episode kind of thing.
Yep.
They always kind of left on a mini cliffhanger to get you to come back for the next episode.
Yeah, and also the juxtaposing the 2 characters I thought worked really well.
Yes. So, I think we're gonna go better from here. It's been a very long time since I played Yakuza 2, and I don't remember much of that at all. I know a few things that happened in that game, but that's about it. So, I remember the villain, and I remember a couple of other things that I don't want to get into because obviously we're going to play it. So,
yeah.
I do also have an email, which I can read off. It comes in from Dustin. Got it just a few hours ago, actually. I haven't read this yet. Oh, boy. Okay. This game is so boring. I don't like this game. It started off strong, especially coming off of 0. But then it starts dragging and is so damn boring for the majority of the game. I didn't care about most of these characters, like the florist guy who looks like a toad, some washed up detective. And why are we stuck with this girl? We never did find out who killed all those people in the bar we found her at. That's true. It was her all along. She was holding a gun. Common denominator here. The person with the gun, surrounded by a bunch of dead people. Haruka is a mass murderer.
Quite the twist.
Yeah. We never did find out who killed all those people in the bar. We found her. Oh, sorry. I did laugh a little too loud when he slapped her. More out of surprise than of joy. Haha. It just caught me off guard. I played on hard, and the fight behind Serena with the sword gang and the leader sucked so much. You would get stun locked and die so quick. I tried to lower my difficulty, but you can't in combat, so I quit and stocked up on all health items and barely squeaked by. The hardest part, though, was the damn vehicle shooting section. I failed 3 times at the van with the rocket launcher, bumped it down to easy, and still freaking failed like 4 times before finally getting through it. Why did it go on for so long? Goddamn. The last few bosses weren't too bad, but by the time I fought Nishiki, I only had like 4 or 5 health kits, but I had a handful of weapons, so I had to strategize and fight him multiple times, but I did kill him on hard. I stayed in Brawler mode the entire game with the same combo and went 100% into body for higher hit points and attack up. Then went into tech and spirit by the end of the game. The time I used a different mode was the Nishiki fight. I used Beast for part of it since there's furniture everywhere. Majima everywhere is shit is dumb. Yeah, it's funny to see how he gets you into certain fights, but do we really have to fight him so many times for minimal gain? Also, I would... Oh, sorry, I got distracted there. Also, I would randomly hear Kiryu-Chan somewhere through some sort of loudspeaker, and I could never find the source. I had the exact same thing. I would leave a building, and I'd hear Kiryu-Chan. And I'm like, oh, where's he at? Never found him. I did a few side quests, and nothing I saw was remotely entertaining. Zero had at least had amazing comic relief in the side quest, and these are just kind of busy work for some side cash. The ending was great, but man, I'm surprised this game got a sequel. I'm not really excited to continue into Kiwami 2, but a friend did say it has the best antagonist of the entire series, so I guess I have to look forward to. I'm a bit worried we hit the high mark with Zero, and the rest are only going to be mediocre at best. I'm going to stick with it, though, but might be popping these down to normal to blow through them faster. Dustin. Yeah, I would probably play on normal if I were you. These games can sometimes be easy as pie and then immediately be so friggin' difficult.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. So, yeah, I get where you're coming from there. I can guarantee you that we're only going to go up from here. The storytelling gets better. The upgrades and the combat get better. And obviously, you know, the visuals, well, I take it back. Zero and Kiwami 2 has the same visual art style as Zero. So they're going to look okay. But they do definitely get better. So definitely stick with it. But like I said, I would suggest bumping it down normal. There is nothing wrong with playing on normal or easy, for that matter. So there you go. That's our email. I appreciate everybody listening. And yeah, if you want to follow us on Twitter, I am at DML Fury now. I am back.
Oh, he's back.
I'm back. Yeah, I randomly tried resetting my password, and it just let me now, which I tried a million times a year and a half ago, and it wouldn't let me. So I was able to get my account back, so I'm back to DML Fury. I'm going to keep the @DrewLeachman for probably another month or so, just in case.
Keep it for the off days.
Yeah, and I'll probably just go ahead and kill that account. Yeah, to be honest with you, you know what it was? I remember there was a GIF that I posted of a old guy on a like a motorized scooter crashing through a convenience store door, and a bar from the door came off and kind of hit him in the chest and kind of did like a flip as he went into the convenience store. And I said, I want to get that GIF again. So I looked on my account, and then I said, let me try resetting my password. And it let me do it. So thanks to the old man convenience store GIF, I got my account back. But Matt is at REMGS, and the podcast itself is at ZTGD Phoenix Down. If you'd like to send us an email, please do. It is drew@ztgd.com. Yeah. Up next, Assassin's Creed Origins.
This one feels like a big one. Not necessarily the size of the game, but I've also broken my code and have given up. Not given up on finishing Assassin's Creed, I won't say that. But given up on blocking all other Assassin's Creeds until I finish the first one.
So, I don't know, because the last Assassin's Creed game I played was Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. But from what I understand, this is kind of a soft reboot. Or maybe, don't even use the word reboot. Basically, let's go with this from now on.
Just a swerve.
Yeah. From what I understand, this is like the beginning of a what is essentially a new trilogy, I guess. I think it is. Origins, Odyssey, and Valhalla, I think, are all kind of intertwined together. And while they do mention things that happened in previous ones, I don't think it's very important.
Yeah.
So I think you're going to be good there.
Well, I think I have all three of these, which is shocking because I think I missed about, I don't even know how many Assassin's Creeds there are, but I feel like I missed 6 or 7 in a row anyway.
You probably did. So, man, that's going to be a hard one to do, but I can probably do it right now. So you have Assassin's Creed 2, Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, Assassin's Creed Revelations, Assassin's Creed 3, Assassin's Creed Rogue, Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, Assassin's Creed Unity, Assassin's Creed Syndicate.
These sound like games.
Yeah.
There's at least 2 spin-offs or more on the handhelds.
Yeah, so there was actually multiple spin-offs. So there was just the spin-offs where they're like a 2D side-scrollers. Kind of like Xbox Live Arcade game kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean the real ones though. Well, at least kind of 3D adventures still.
Liberation was one of them, which was on PSP, I think, or it might have been Vita. So I'm pretty sure I just named all the mainline ones, and Rogue was kind of a spin-off, I know. And then there's Origins, there's Odyssey, and then Valhalla.
So that's a good dozen, I think.
Yeah, there's
11 main ones.
Metric crap ton of Assassin's Creed games. For a while there, they were coming out every 2 years. In fact, I think there was a couple of them that came out like a year in between each other. And
yeah, Bloodlines was on the PSP.
Yeah, Bloodlines, and then they had Liberation, which was on the Vita, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's crazy for somebody who only played the first technically 3 games. I got halfway through Brotherhood and gave up. I know all the Assassin's Creeds. I just I don't know. I didn't mind them, but they kind of got long in the tooth. But
yeah,
everybody talks about Odyssey, and I don't want to play Odyssey until I play Origins.
Yeah, me too.
So
I've heard it's good. You know, if it's a bit of a reset, the price is right on it. I mean, it's been on deep discount many times.
Sure.
So it feels like a good, easy place to get back into it.
Seems like
and
a
the whole
cool
Egyptian setting seems,
yeah,
seems cool.
So, I'm actually kind of excited to get into it. It's been a very long time since I've even thought about Assassin's Creed. So,
yeah, me too. My only reservation is that I don't generally or always love open world games.
Sure.
Not that I actively dislike them, or I feel like there ends up being so much filler sometimes that ends up detracting from my enjoyment of I don't want to say a story because it's not just for the story, but of my adventure, my mainline adventure.
Sure. I mean, if because this is a Ubisoft game, and if you've ever played a Ubisoft game before, you're going to have a map that is full of icons, and I mean, yeah, you don't have to do any of them, I don't think. I mean, I don't know how these games are handled, but unless they're like, oh no, you need to like level up before you can do this next thing. Which, from what I understand, they did start adding more RPG elements into Origins. So I don't know. Honestly, I don't know what to expect from.
Yeah, I don't either. I know what
game.
the first game was like. I don't know how it's evolved through 8 or 9 other games before it got to this point.
Yeah. So I guess we'll see. I'm kind of excited to see what we're in store for here. So yeah, that's gonna be our next game. I am hardcore yawning right now. Sorry, I've been up since 2 a.m. So
Oh, jeez.
it is currently 9:20 something. No, 9:02 right now. Yeah, I had to work 12 hours a day. That was a fun time. But yeah, that's going to be it for us. I appreciate everybody listening. Thank you so much. And definitely, if you're going to play along with us for Assassin's Creed Origins, please send us some emails, because I don't know anything about these games. And if you can shed some light on some things, whether it be story or, hey, you should probably go do this, please let me know. But yeah, that's it for us. We're going to get out of here. Until next time, I am Drew.
And I'm Matt.
And we're gone. I hope you guys have a great week. And we'll be back next week with the beginning of Assassin's Creed Origins.